Hi, I'm Dr. Dana, and this is Laura. And today we have a great guest. I'm super excited to talk with you because you do so many things, and I see you everywhere. And I'm always like, man, she's here, and she's here, and she's here, and she's here. You just do so much. Tell us who you are, and tell us what you do.
So I'm Jen Hunter, and I am the proud owner of Borman Business Innovations and Borman Bookkeeping and Borman Cleaning Services.
That's what I meant, everywhere. Yes, yes.
I've been in the Branson area now 14 years,
Okay.
which is kind of crazy. I grew up in the St. Louis area, so was always used to big city lives, and Branson is a very big little city.
Yeah, it is.
That's a great way to describe it.
It is a big little city. I know we laugh when I say when I married my husband, I married half the county, but it's probably more than that now because the younger generations are all marrying those that we weren't married, related to at one point. So I do feel like I'm kind of everywhere. But
Yes, I would agree.
I think that's also, you got to have your face out there in order to have that kind of face to name brand, recognition. So I like to look at some other ladies in the area that have been in business for several years and they're being very successful. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a page out of your book and get involved in the community.
That's exactly what we're doing here.
That's right.
Come in and show us. And you're like one of the first people on our list when we were talking. I said, we have to get her in here because she knows so much. You have to because you've experienced so much and you're running so much. I don't know how you keep all of these separated and all of them successfully running.
Time blocking.
Tell us about that.
So time blocking. So I have a calendar that I love. It has a work life schedule next to the home. And so since I'm running a household of 7 and keeping their schedules, I need to also make sure so I can see their schedule and my work schedule and see who needs to be getting the kids where because they're not driving yet. Drea turns 16 in April.
Wow.
Oh, you're almost there.
So I'm almost there. It's like, all right, kids will be getting to school home on their own, but that still leaves 3 other little ones. We got to get to games and practices and whatnot. So I take time blocking even in my sleep. So I have this, it's not a bad thing. I just wake up and between 11 and 2 a.m. every night. And I work on my clients' books and stuff in the middle of the night while my house is quiet. May flip a load of laundry, do a load of dishes as I'm like walking into my office and then walking back out of my office.
Holy cow. I'm like,
but I'll go back to sleep, take a couple hour nap and get my kids up and we'll go for the day. And thank God for thyroid medicine and some B complex.
oh, man.
Oh.
I need to give you some infusions when we get that going.
Let's do it.
You need it.
I know.
Yes.
I love getting IV infusions. There's several local area doctors. I know we just lost one that we were really close with. And she had just started IV infusions. I was so excited before she moved out of the area. But let's.
Yeah, no, well,
I'm for it.
I'm starting that business. You'll see my ambulance driving around in a few months. We're wrapping an ambulance for our mobile infusions.
All right, I'm here for it.
Come over. You need this. Holy cow.
Okay, so you just so you go to bed, you sleep for a little bit, and you automatically wake up at 11 o'clock.
Pretty much.
And so you work from 11 to 2.
Not all,
Okay.
Between 11 and 2, I'll wake up.
Okay, and then you do a couple hours of work, and then you go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when I say I'm going to bed, 8 o'clock is late.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I am not,
No, I'm with you there.
I am not a night person.
Yeah.
When
Okay.
5 o'clock hits, my brain is already tired. And I'm like, last night we were up in Springfield doing shopping, and I'm like, it's only 6:30.
Oh, yeah, and it
It
looks
is
like
only
it's
midnight.
midnight. I know. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. This time change is awful.
Yes.
I agree. We should just get rid of it.
Absolutely.
I totally agree.
Yes.
And it has passed through, but it just doesn't get approved in the Senate. So anyway, I guess we can't fix that right now. But what we can fix is we can model after you. Though I'm sorry, I'm not waking up at 11 o'clock at night and I just wouldn't do it. But I admire that you do, because it is quiet then. It is peaceful. I know if I can wake up early and get some stuff done, I can get far more done between like 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. than if I wake up, like 8 o'clock and then suddenly it's noon and I've done nothing,
Right. And doing accounting and bookkeeping, businesses are running in your 9 to 5 time area.
Mhm.
So if I'm going to be going to clients, I've got to still be able to figure out where to work in my life around those other clients.
Mhm.
So we've taken a couple of days out of the week that I absolutely won't meet with anybody. That's just office time. And then we also have days where, I have availability on this date or this date. And those are the days you're going to see me out running around like a chicken with my head cut off, because it's
Right.
literally just one after another. But I think you can do anything you put your mind to. No is a complete sentence. That's something that I've learned in the last year and a half. When I say no, it's going to be no.
Right.
And that's going to be that. I always listen to my gut. I think if you listen to your gut, it's that intuitional.
Mhm.
I'll contemplate it, but it's usually that first gut reaction of a yes or a no.
Hmm.
That's what blesses me. If it's a yes, then I'll be like, let me think about it, because I don't want to look overly eager.
Mhm.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, yes.
Yes.
Like it's going to bless us. If first instinct is no, then lean into it, because there's some reason God or the
Mhm.
higher calling is telling you to avoid that situation.
I like that advice. Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
good. Good advice.
It's hard to learn the no.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No. I've gotten really good at it, though. I think
Yes.
the older you get, you're like, my life is too short. So the answer is
Right.
no.
Yeah.
No.
And I think if you are doing things that don't fulfill you, life is going to just not be fun. And
No.
it's too short
Very
to not
true.
have fun.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So you're
I
having fun in
absolutely-
these 3 businesses now that you're running,
I
right?
love it. It's
Yes.
so much fun. You meet so many people and they're interesting. And I like that my business is a virtual remote business. I don't actually have a brick and mortar, nor do I really want one.
Okay.
So we are in 26 states, which is huge.
Yes.
And I'm looking with 24, being able to grow that number even more. I partnered with Intuit. So this year we are a verified pro with TurboTax.
Wow.
So that's going to
That's
be a
awesome.
huge boost to the business and just bringing us more clientele. But we also are QuickBooks Pro Advisors. And when I say we, that's me and my team members and I can't do anything without them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There's delegation's a beautiful thing. But yeah, having your pro advisors and being able to say, yes, I have a team members and we're in multiple different states and different time zones, and we're all able to kind of work together. And if somebody's busy, don't worry, there's somebody else there that can help you with your QuickBooks accounting needs. So
How many employees have you got?
we are currently a team of 5, if you include myself.
Okay.
How in the
Wow.
world are you pulling all this off?
I agree. Yeah.
Delegation.
Yeah.
Delegation and knowing your team. I think having good people is a huge benefit. And when you are looking at people going, look, you can work from anywhere.
Right.
This is perfect for your stay-at-home moms who maybe their youngest just started school. And so they're looking now they want to bring some income in, so they feel like they're doing something, but they also want to have that autonomy. So if they do have that sick kiddo, they can go take care of it. They're not stuck in a traditional 9 to 5 where kid's sick and they're just taking off.
Mhm.
Right. Right.
And so I also lean into my team and I say, look, if you are stretched too thin, you need to tell me, and we need to have some serious open communication, because I'm only as good as my weakest link.
Mhm.
And so if you are trying to be Superwoman over here and you are struggling because some stuff on the home life is not doing so great, you need to tell me.
Mhm.
So then we can kind of offload that burden from you a little bit
Mhm.
and really support one another. And I think that's been a really big blessing, is that we are able to fully wrap our arms around each other, and we do have open communication. And so we kind of all make our own schedules, but we also communicate with what's going on. So I have one gal, she's always answering the phones, but hey, her kids had a bunch of orthodontist appointments and WIC and this, that, and the other. And she's like, can somebody else grab the phones today? Absolutely, no problem. And somebody else can offload her on that. So I think that's a big part of it is we're really big on communicating. And it doesn't have to be a long phone call. It doesn't have to be anything major. It's just, hey, I need a little help here in this area. Or I'm not really sure what I'm looking at. Can somebody else give me a second pair of eyes on this client? So I think that's been a huge point of success for us is that we have just good open communication.
I love that because you have to structure that, that you have to do that with your employees. I don't work for people, that I think back in the jobs that I've had, I probably would never say like, I can't handle this because they'd be like, oh, good, go get yourself another job, right. Right. So that's a lot for an employee to be able to say to you, like, hey, I need some help today. And that you're open and you say, yeah, we all need help. We all need help. Yes. Yeah.
And I think knowing what your bandwidth is, I think that's one thing I kind of talk to everybody, like know where you're at. Because if you are struggling in one area, it's going to slowly start to trickle into other areas. And so I know, with Chef Jeff, him and I were in a networking group together, and I was just like, I need to relieve some steam off of one specific area. Yep. And for me, it was taking the gas off of that networking group just because it just needed to be the one thing that needed to take the gas off.
Right, right.
And sometimes you need to do that just so you can get ready for that next acceleration.
Sure.
And get ready to go into the next area of where you're going to be successful. And so it was really funny. I think the week that we went ahead and we took the foot off the gas for networking, my husband called me and he goes, hey. I said, yeah. He goes, so I'm down here in Southern Taney County, and we're looking for a cleaning service. And it's like over an hour out from Branson.
Oh, wow.
And so it's not a normal traditional spot. They're needing commercial, vacation rental cleanings. And he goes, do we know anybody that could help us, like, create this happening? I was like, I know a couple people that used to, clean, but they didn't like the company they're cleaning for. And so, yeah, that day we got the LLC set up and we got the insurance.
That's crazy.
I called some girlfriends that were just looking for some extra cash on the side. And they were just kind of working the normal Branson odds and ends jobs. Right. And they have taken over the cleaning service.
Wow.
And so we're
I do too.
It's insane. But my husband goes, I'm not going to say no to anything. And I'm like, I'll say no to things that, don't fulfill me.
Right.
But, when you're going as far out as Theodosia.
Oh, that's a long ways.
It is.
And you're going all the way to the other end to, like, Lampy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we're not cleaning the Branson area.
No.
We are cleaning the outskirts.
Oh,
yes. Yes.
But living in Eastern Taney County, we're already on the outskirts.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
It works.
It does. For sure.
Wow. And I love that just, appeared and you're like, well, I can fill that need. Let's start a business and go. Yeah. Where I might have been like, I don't know how to help you out there. I cook food. I don't clean. I don't know anything like that. Like, sorry, but you just open the door. Like, there's the door. I love it.
That's how our whole business has started.
Okay.
So not everybody knows our story.
Nope. Tell it.
Yeah.
I want to hear
it. In 2020, we were on vacation in Destin. And my mother-in-law had fell just 48 hours, something like that, like 2 days before we were supposed to leave. Mm-hmm. She fell and she broke her leg.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, wow.
And it was a pretty severe break. So we delayed our going one day just to get her through surgery. We knew it was going to be a long recovery. So it was okay for us to go on vacation. And so we went down, and my husband and I were really having some hard conversations. And at that point, I'd been with the company here in Branson for over 7 years. And so it was one of those conversations of, we need to do something because someone's going to have to take care of mom. Mm-hmm. What's this going to look like? We knew it was going to be a long haul. And we still needed to, mom has always been great with taking care of the kids. So when I was pregnant and she was coming up from Branson to Springfield, and they were doing the doctor's appointments and prenatal stuff, she would come up and hang out with the babies. So I have 3 kids in 30 months. So at the time we were fostering.
Oh,
also.
Lord have mercy.
Wow.
So
That's a
at
lot.
one point we had 4 under 3.
Oh my gosh.
goodness.
And so she would come up and she would take care of the babies. And I could go to appointments with this one or that one. Our oldest son was diagnosed with 17 and a half pages of food allergens.
Oh,
so
wow.
he had a lot of doctor's appointments.
Right.
So Grandma and I learned very quickly that I had to get down to Branson from Springfield. And so we did. And then we quickly learned that her and I were a really good team. And we created this relationship of we had to go to Springfield once to twice a week because of the kids that we were fostering were out of Greene County.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were driving up. So you have a 2-hour window of somebody that talks to you and as an adult, and you got used to having that.
Sure.
So we became really codependent on each other. And so she was taking the kids to school. And so when she fell, it kind of was like, okay, we now have a void.
Right.
We got to fill it. So at that point in time, I had been working within QuickBooks. Oh, gosh. Probably a solid 15 years.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Been into it. QuickBooks Desktop. And online had launched, but it wasn't as big as it is now.
Okay.
And so I got on as a live bookkeeper with QuickBooks Online. And then I launched with Intuit themselves as a customer support technician for QuickBooks Desktop, specifically enterprise.
Okay.
So I was doing that, working from home, and it was great. And, people in business, you have your friends that are business owners. And I had, by Christmas of 21, I had 5 clients that I didn't realize were clients. And they were just friends, and they
Right.
owned businesses, and I was helping do their bookkeeping on the side. And I'd gone home for Christmas back to St. Louis, and I was talking to my grandpa, and my grandpa was a serial entrepreneur. And he goes, "That's a business." And I said, "No, I'm just helping my friends out." He goes, "No, that's a business.
Right.
Go home, get yourself an LLC set up, get your insurance, get yourself protected, because at the end of the day, that's what's important, is making sure that the business is covered." Okay, fine. So I was kind of weirded out. I'm like, it's just not a business. What are you
Right.
talking about? But it was. And so by April of 22, I had left Intuit because my business had quadrupled. I had joined the networking group with Chef Jeff, and we had a 5,600% increase in revenue
Wow.
that 1 year.
Wow.
It was
Oh my
insane.
Wow.
It was insane. And so through growing the business, I became the director of finance with Faith Community Health, My Neighbor's Charitable Pharmacy, Christian Action Ministries, and I really start OMCC. So I really gotten my foot into the nonprofit world here in Branson, and working with several blue collar industries. We found out that there was a need for like virtual assistants, answering services, and we just kind of kept saying, "Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we can do that." I would talk to my gals and say, "Hey, we have a client, they're needing a virtual assistant. Is that something you could kind of maybe fill in for them?" Absolutely. So we tacked on an additional fee for that virtual assistant for a monthly cost. And I'm trying. It's hard. When you look at virtual assistants online, you're going up against Thailand and, other countries that the wages are a lot less than they are here in the U.S. So by giving them to them as a contracted rate on top of their bookkeeping, they were able to actually kind of save some money.
Okay.
But you're not also filling that 24/7 role either.
Right.
You know, and so kind of creating those boundaries with your clients. Like, yes, we would love to help you, but we just are trying to also not, we got to make ends meet, but we're also not trying to rob the bank either.
Right.
And that's that's a very tough line to toe, but I think we've done it really well. And I like to just be upfront and honest with all my clients. Like, look, if it's a struggle, we can reallocate some stuff and we can figure it out, because businesses are going to have highs and lows, and we don't want you to have to say no to your bookkeeping just because, at the end of the year, that's a big part of your business. You need that.
Yes.
Right, you do.
Yes.
So we quickly realized that Borman Bookkeeping was outgrowing Borman Bookkeeping. And so we went into Borman Business Innovations because we felt like that really kind of was the all-encompassing of what we did. And so we created that LLC, and we brought it as a kind of an umbrella company to put Mormon bookkeeping under. And then the cleaning service has now gone under that umbrella as well. So we've just really structured it, I think, smart to allow us to grow, but also not say no. And before I'm going to say yes, I'm going to make sure I have people in place to take care of that need. Because the last thing I need to do is say yes to something and then, oh, wait, I have to do this too. I'm already getting like 16 to 18-hour days to put into my life. Right. The last thing I needed to be doing is trying to add one more thing.
Oh, sure.
And so I think that's our story. And
I love it. I love that you like see a need and then fill it.
Yeah.
You know, like that's amazing. I don't know that I do that. I just like, somebody needs to take care of that. And then I move on with like, I don't think about like, oh, I could start my own business to take care of it. I'm like, don't need that, right? Like, so I love that.
But
I
life's
really
never
do.
boring that way.
Well, this is true. You're right.
I mean, my life is literally, it can change from the time I get up in the morning till lunch. Like, what I say, I make plans and God laughs because that's so true. When I get up, I have made a plan of what my day's going to look like, and then God laughs and it's getting erased. Nothing is in pen. It's always in pencil because it's going to change. But if it is in pen, it's something very important that I cannot move around.
Right.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Right,
so your
like
calendar is a physical calendar.
It is. So it is. It's a physical calendar. I always like to carry it around. This is my 24 one, so I'm starting to slowly kind of get it all set up. But we put our goals in here. So I like a zero-based budget.
Okay.
Let's see. Lizzie's 9. So I guess 7 years ago, we were introduced to Dave Ramsey.
Okay.
Yes.
And Financial Peace University. And we've been slowly working towards becoming debt-free. And that's really hard when you decide to start some businesses and grow. And you also have kids.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's something where you're constantly working on, but I think it's always good to kind of have those goals of, okay, so what am I paying off in 24?
Right.
And so we are looking at paying off 3 cars in 24. They are all under the $5,000 range in the payoff. So
nice.
We're like, okay, we want to pay those off. But we did also buy a new car in 23.
Right.
But you got to also, the businesses allowed for that. And we've been able to make that a business purchase. But still got to get paid off.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
So we have a goal of paying off our mortgage in literally a fourth of the normal time. And so but you've got to make those budgets. You got to have those goals and the finances to match it. And so I have my goals listed down. So when I open my calendar, it's the first thing I see.
I love it.
And we just
you need to show us this a little bit closer up because I really want to see your calendar. I want to see what you're doing.
Okay.
So is this is just a normal off the shelf calendar?
This is I got this one, I think at Walgreens, honestly. So this is my 24 calendar. I'm working on it. So we actually have a $1,000 emergency fund.
Okay.
That's when you do Dave Ramsey, it's your first step.
Okay.
$1,000 emergency fund. My personal belief is that that's not enough. And maybe that's
you can go through 1,000 that fast.
Oh, yeah, you really could.
You get your brakes changed on
sure.
on a vehicle. It's $1,000 anymore.
Sure.
I was thinking if we shop down its hanger, we'd be out.
Right?
Right.
And it is an emergency.
It is an emergency.
Yes.
Plus that moonshine place would be open, so definite emergency.
Yeah. They've got good stuff. So, so we now have like going forward, and especially again, we're a family of 7,
Right.
So it seems like all of our expenses are super inflated compared to the normal average family of 4 people. So we have 4 kids with 4 dogs, and then my mother-in-law and my husband and I. So
it's a house full.
It is a house full.
Yes.
So we've gotten very creative over the years on how to budget.
Sure.
And that was just organically.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You've got to get really good with your money when you've got 3 or 4 kids in diapers, formula.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
I can't even imagine.
At that point in life, that was just what it was. So, we were going to pay off 2 credit cards and 3 vehicles for 24, and then we have a $2,000 emergency fund.
So is this at the top of every page your goals,
No,
or
this
is
is
it
just my yearly goal.
Okay. So you have, look at that. It actually
like
says
it.
yearly
Yeah.
goals.
Yeah.
So there you go. You put down your yearly goals and you look at that every day.
And I look at it all the time.
Okay.
So our oldest is going to be a junior next year, which is crazy.
Wow.
So we've already started, we've got the list of colleges.
Right.
So we are a big weekend trip family. We are constantly taking trips, and people go, "What? How do you afford that?" Well, you know what? You budget.
Yeah.
And
That's true.
You know in advance. So we had we were going to do a week-long trip. I think it's going to probably be more like a 4-day weekend down to PCC in Pensacola. And so I was in the Navy, so it makes my heart super excited to know that she's looking at a college at the home of the Blue Angels. I'm just yes, let's do it.
Right. Oh, that's awesome.
Right.
And so that's always super exciting. But you got to plan those things out. So these, like I said, these are the big things: is the paying off the 2 credit cards and 3 vehicles, and then getting a $2,000 emergency fund saved up.
So when you look at those goals, do you ever throughout the year have to modify them?
Absolutely.
Okay, so it's not a set in stone.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So on that vacation where my husband and I had to make some hard decisions about, do I leave the company that I'd been at for 7 years and was like a second family to me?
Right.
And how are we? And when you leave that, that's a serious sense of security. What are you going to do now?
Right.
Well, on that way home from that trip was so eye-opening. We had just left Florida, crossed over into Alabama, and we lost not 1 but 2 lifter arms in our engine of our van. Yeah.
After
my
you'd
gosh.
already made this decision in your
Right.
head. Oh my gosh.
And our car never got above 40 miles an hour
Wow.
with our car with 4 kids. And
Oh my goodness.
the trip just doubled the length
Sure.
of time.
Right.
And it was super high stress. And it was just the kids just kind of sat back. And
John is being crazy back here. Yes, I see you.
Hi, guys. So we just the kids okay, we understand that there's something going on and it's outside of our control. And I always tell our kids, life is what happens when you're making other plans.
Right.
And so you got to learn how to roll with the punches. And I think we all need to be able to do that.
Absolutely. You
I think
have
that's
to
great
adapt.
advice. Yes.
You have to adapt.
Yes.
Life gets way too difficult if you try to control everything. And I'm a big component of, I like everything. I think that's just innately in me with numbers. I like everything kind of figured out. But it's also not easy to do that.
No.
And life does not let you do that. And so I think being able to roll with those punches. But I just kind of looked at my husband and I said, okay, well, we made it home. Can't get worse than that, right? We could have paid our vehicle off 2 times on what it costs to fix it.
Wow.
Oh, man.
And that's one of the ones we're looking to pay off this year.
Oh,
Right.
wow. Oh, my
Wow.
gosh.
And so it's just kind of been one of those things. It's okay, well, the plans for payoff that year did not happen, and they didn't happen the next year because we were making payments forever, it felt like, to that auto mechanic shop. And again, thankfully, it's a small community. My husband was really good friends with the auto mechanic that did our repairs, and he let us make payments.
Wow. Wow.
Thank you, Jesus.
It's all very much, it all goes hand in hand, and he always takes care of it. So we have our plans. We will kind of be looking as we're going through important dates.
Okay.
So we know that we have a baby coming in May. So
Wait, you're
we
pregnant?
are not pregnant.
Oh.
I was like, wait a second, what?
So my little brother and his wife, they adopted a little boy with Down syndrome out of Bulgaria back in September.
Oh.
Okay.
And it was amazing. And this was right on the heels of having miscarried twins.
Oh, wow.
And so they were like, all right, well, we don't know what God's got in plan, but we'll figure it out.
Right.
So she was sick the whole time they were in Bulgaria, and they got back to the U.S. and they found out they were pregnant.
Oh, my gosh.
goodness.
And so she's now officially into her second trimester, and we know it's going to be a little boy. And so we've kind of already okay, well, we know we have a baby coming. So I'm going to go up and play aunt, and they take the kids with me. And that's one of the beautiful things about my business is I can take the business with me.
Sure.
And so
Right.
I can be there with them while she's having the baby, and I can play aunt, and my kids can love on their cousin because they're 6 hours away from us.
Yeah.
Right.
So, we'll write down, okay, we've got baby Smith coming and right around Mother's Day. And I like to look and say, okay, so we have spring break. So we know we're going to go to PCC at spring break. So that's one of our trips. And then our daughter's turning 16. Just crazy.
I do love how you're looking at the whole year, and saying, okay, here's what we have planned for this year.
Too.
Because if you don't purposefully plan something, suddenly it's April and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot we wanted to have a party or whatever, right.
Absolutely.
Right.
So I think Denzel Washington was one that said, goals or dreams without, how did it go? It's a beautiful statement. Dreams without goals are just dreams. So
That's so true.
It's so true. So my daughter she wants to go visit 3 different colleges. Well, for a family of 7 on a fixed income that goes up and down with the economy, we have to be able to make sure we can make that happen. And so I have to always look at that bottom dollar of, okay, what's that going to cost?
Mm-hmm.
What's that going to take?
And when can we go? When can we get all the kids out of school? When can we take away from the,
Because we're like big, huge fans of going. Yes, I travel a lot.
Right.
But I go to Destin in September, October. We did Dauphin Island, Alabama over Thanksgiving. Dauphin Island is like dead at Thanksgiving.
Oh,
perfect.
And so it's wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't like a whole lot of people. It's fantastic. So we go in off seasons. We were in Keystone, Colorado in the end of June, beginning of July. And that was fantastic. But Keystone's a ski town.
Yeah.
Right.
It's totally different. But you know what? If you're really big into hiking, and my family's big into hiking, it's a great place because you can ride the gondolas up and you can hike it down.
Oh,
And
I like that idea.
It's fantastic. You throw some snacks in a backpack and
you
go
go.
on. So, and you cut costs that way.
Right.
So we like to stay either in extended stay hotels or condos or the camper. And that way we can cook and make our own meals. So we're cutting our budget in half.
Sure.
just-
Oh, absolutely.
And not
Sure.
having to eat out. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. So what does it look like when you said you have time blocking? What does that actually mean?
Okay, so time blocking. So this one's actually different than the one I have at home. But what I'll do is, like, we have a dentist and orthodontist appointment on Tuesday the 2nd at 11. I really can't change that. I've been waiting on that appointment forever.
Sure.
Right.
So that one needs to really be in pen. But, like, I know I have some payroll companies. I have to get their payroll done on certain days. So I will put that in so I know this one company's at 9 and this one's at 12, and my kids get out of school at 1:30 on Wednesdays.
Oh.
So making sure that I can get my kids dropped off at school at 8:30 in the morning so I can be at the first client's office at 9.
Okay.
And guess what? I communicate with my clients like I do my team members. If I'm going to be 15 minutes late, I'm going to text you that I'm 15 minutes late.
Right.
One thing that the Navy really instilled in me was 15 minutes early is on time and on time is late. And so I really hate walking in someplace like right at 9 o'clock. Like
That makes sense.
that irks me.
Yeah.
But that's just, I think, who I am as a person. And I kind of hold my kids to those same kind of qualities. So what I like to do is I will draw a line kind of like this all the way down. And so then I can have work over here and I can have home over here. So then I know who's doing what. And like I said, since this is my 24 calendar, I'm still kind of building it.
Sure.
Right.
But I like to know exactly what's going on. And my phone gets a little crazy because you have 7 people's calendars on it. I have a networking. So we created a networking calendar business with another local up in Springfield that is a publishing house. And so it's all the Branson area has a ton. I shouldn't say Branson. The Southwest Missouri area has a huge network of networking groups, kind of unlike anything else you would see in any other metropolis. And so having a one-stop shopping place where you can go in and be like, okay, I'm a business owner and I'm in Springfield today. who's got what going on where that I can go visit. And so her and I sat down with our husbands and we created this networking calendar. And it's a subscription. So
Wow.
it took us about 3 months to kind of really get it going. But once you do, it's beautiful. However, if I look at my phone right now, it kind of gives me anxiety because I can see all the area networking events. And it's Fayetteville, Arkansas. It's Little Rock. It's Harrison. It's Branson. It's Springfield. It's Joplin. It's a lot of different areas.
And this is where any business can go, or they need to have a membership to
You
it?
need to have the membership subscription.
Okay.
So it's $6.99 a month or $69.99 a year.
Is that through your company?
So it's called Business is Great, big. So we are a partner in that business.
Okay.
And so I can give you guys the link to it. So if you guys want to put it out there.
Yeah, we want to put it out there. I'm sitting there going, what a great idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You just need to have one spot because there's so many things. And so if I go up to Springfield and I have an automatic like, oh, I'm so sorry, I can't come today. Something came up on a meeting. Well, I just drove an hour for nothing.
Right.
I want to fill in that time. So I'm going to look and see who's got what. And so I've gone to Working Women's Web up there in Springfield that meets on one Friday a month. And it's all women entrepreneurs. Going to
very interesting.
Going up to like a Springfield Chamber luncheon and getting some educational information. And we did one with AI. And so AI is scary, but I think it's also the way of the future. And you need to be able to ride that wave,
I agree.
or you're going to get crushed by it. So we utilize AI quite a bit in our business just to kind of help us streamline things. But you got to know your enemy, right?
Right.
So, being able just to kind of fill in the gaps. And so having this networking calendar has really been great for that because you can see, okay, well, if there's not a BNI, if I'm in BNI, well, there's ING or there's Networking Navy or any of the, I think there's a CBC, there's an after hours. You have all the chamber events.
Right.
I mean, there's just so much.
And then there's even free groups that meet, you don't have to have a membership to them, And sometimes those are hard to find unless you're attending events and attending chamber luncheons. Well, I'm actually mesmerized by your organizational skills and what you do.
Well, I think this is a great idea.
I agree. And I have enjoyed chatting with you. They're saying like, hey, time is up. I could sit here like all day and just learn from you because I think you have so many amazing things that you are doing and not just talking about like, I want to do this, because that's what I feel like I do a lot, but you're actually doing it.
Awesome. All right. Well, have a great afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.